Mr. Chairman, allow me to stand on existing protocols, spiritual and temporal. As you will surely recall, I belong to the generation that grew up very rebellious and always reject authority. I don't know if you remember my slogan, question authority. I remember with nostalgia when I visited the late Alhaji Isa Wasagu, who I tried to stop from escorting me outside. But as usual, he insisted. By the time he looked at my car, which we know was the only one in town in Sokoto, Alhaji Isa Wasagu stepped back, looked at the sticker, and said, question authority. I said, yes. Question authority, he was then the secretary to the Sokoto state government. Question authority there, doctor? Casa authority? I was shaking because he was someone that went to school with my brother. I didn't know how to say, so I said, ranke dade, ka san ko a addini aka kawo hadisi sai an yi questioning the sources nata, an tabbatar. Don haka in ba mu yi questioning people in power ba, za su murkushe mu duka. Until he died, he kept calling me question authority. With this, may his soul rest in perfect peace and the soul of those before us. Now, I will just go straight because I think we are constrained for time. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, it's been an honor for me to have been invited to make this presentation at this meeting for many good reasons. First of all, I have had, like I said, very close relationship with people from this emirate for over the past 42 years. In my teaching career, I think I was trying to recall yesterday, Professor Mahuta is my witness. In most of the places we stop, one or two individuals would look at me and smile. I was your student, I am your student, I was this. And I keep saying, I know. So, and I was thinking that I must have taught hundreds or encountered hundreds of students from Zulu Emirate. And so I feel very, very attuned to people of Zulu. Secondly, by coincidence, I share ancestral roots with the Limani Zulu family. This is something we found out about 10 years ago. And it was only about a month ago that I found out, to my surprise, that someone I have related to for more than 30 years, Professor Kaoje, is actually related. We are actually related. And he is, when we discovered it, I asked the person, what is the relationship? Professor Kaoje said, I hope he is my grandfather. So I said, really? He said, no, actually, Professor Baba is your father. Because I knew what he was going to do with the title of grandfather. He refused to leave it. Second and thirdly, unbeknownst to Professor Sahabi Mahuta, who arranged to convey me here from my base in Sokoto, he offered that I will on this occasion pay homage to His Royal Highness the Major General Muhammad Sani Sami, COL, MNI and everything, but most importantly the Emir of Zulu. Unknown to Professor Mahuta, I had been on the lookout for such an opportunity. Zulu Emirate has been, funny enough, one of the only 4 emirates that have yet to enjoy a warm relationship with its monarch, pay homage, and perhaps receive a symbolic key to the palace as an honorary citizen. And I want to convey this request through the representative of His Highness. I want to be able to work are the same with conflict, where life is unpredictable. The other two countries, unfortunately, we belong to the same category, are Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan. And this is disappointing because Iraq and Afghanistan have been under sustained war by the greatest military machine in human history, the American Army, over the last 10 years. We don't have, yet we belong to the same category where citizens don't have a feeling of safety and security. I don't know why, I listed some of the figures. But then again, the 2020 Human Development Index had African countries performed the list, with Nigeria at 121, beaten by, Nigeria has been beaten by Mauritania, Benin, Uganda, and Rwanda. So that we are scoring 161 out of 189. It's not good. We can argue about the accuracy of the figure, political bias in the statistics, and so on. And I absolutely look at them actually with a bit of skepticism. And grant, but then we have to grant that even if they are inaccurate, we cannot reject the pattern they are drawing our attention to. That we need to improve in certain things we do. And if we don't continue to improve, they will continue to score us back low with all the attendant bias and so on, racism and everything. So, why is it important to do that in Nigeria? Nigeria is a hugely complex country, populous, the largest in terms of human numbers in the African continent, with the biggest economy, even if the economy is tottering. As one of the senators said, when the aeroplane is landing, I think it's a good idea, it will be better. So, and this is how our economy. Now, we have diverse cultures, geography, history, religions, and so on. We don't even know the number of ethnicities we have. People have quoted about 400, 500, I have even seen 700, which will not be surprising. In my local government area in Taraba State, or for anyone who has moved between Luman and Jalingo, and a distance of about 100 kilometers, you will come across about 10 tribes that do not speak each other's language and share only 3 languages, English, Hausa, and Fulfulde. Completely. So in their churches they use Hausa, and so within 100, that is really formidable. By religious affiliation, of course, we have two predominant religions, Islam and Christianity, with a dwindling number of traditional religions. We know that. So these demographic characteristics have proved to be challenging, to say the least. We have had competition, strain, and conflict, especially where conflicting parties are having to live side by side. And directly drawing from this, we have begun to ask questions about the constitution of Nigeria, the absence of good governance, and questions are also being raised about the role of political parties and political elites in funding, promoting, in one way or another, religious and ethnic militias, criminal gangs and vigilante groups, thereby transforming the nature and the dynamics of power. I will rush, please, So I will admit that, but I will admit that there is a little room for optimism. Despite our problems and being highly complex, intergroup and intragroup relations have generally been cordial, I say so carefully. Also, in general terms, it can be suggested that the nation's various ethnic and religious groups have continued to live together, tolerating each other in the sense that an all-out and sustained generalized confrontation has been avoided to date. And and I refer to corruption in all our lives, public and private, government and commerce, and so on. We don't need to spend too much of it. And then also there is the general failure of government at all levels to provide for citizens through investment in economic development, provision of employment opportunities, capital, and so on and so forth. Worse, again, there is widespread poverty, ignorance, illiteracy, and so on, all of which tend to put on the individual a narrow worldview. You don't see beyond your need to have your stomach full of food. That is a problem. Another thing that is adding to our problem is also reactions to social change. We are becoming more urbanized. We are becoming more diverse. People are traveling. People are mixing. And there is a tendency for some people, sometimes you feel you are being crowded. You are being taken over. You know, someone is coming to steal your land, and so on. Most of us speak of land that when I listen to debates against the establishment of grazing reserves, and I am personally against the establishment of grazing reserves, but for different reasons. Okay? Because for me, you are trying to set them up for annihilation. By the time you give them the reserve and take over the land, they cannot come out. By the time they are coming out, they are finished. However, my problem with it is when people are claiming, how can you take our land and give to other people, and so on. Thank God the chairman, Senator Naala, is a lawyer and a legislator. He can correct me on this. But since 1910, with the enactment of the Northern Nigerian Land Law by Lugard, no community in Nigeria owns any land. No community. Because that same law became the Northern Nigerian Land Law and independent. That same law was used as a template for the land use decree. Every piece, every inch of land is under the control of state government, not any tribe, not any community. And it can be taken away. And it's legal. It's legal. No tribe, no community owns land. Everyone is a tenant. Check the law. And unless that is legal, most of us don't know it. So these things. Of course, our other problem is also population growth. Whether we like it or not, we are growing fast. From a population of about 32 million, I think, in 25 million in 1932. Today, in the same land, and the land has reduced in size because we gave Bagasi, but we now have 200 million and growing. We are in fact projected to be among the top 10 populous countries by the year 2050. So, simple population growth, even at the rate of 3%, it's too much. When I made this, someone said there is a lot of land. I said no. You see, land exists only as a potential. Yesterday, as we were coming, I was impressed by the fallow land I had seen between Cocoa and this place. And I keep wondering, the only reason we are not exploiting is the lack of technology, lack of knowledge. But we have no reason to complain our anger with all these areas. We just don't have reason. The absence of government policy and so there is still land, but unless we control the rate of growth, we are going to reach a critical tipping point. It is not the number of people you have, it's the quality that matters. If you have people who are uneducated, people with narrow-minded, people who don't listen. A friend of mine was telling me that in Islam, you know, Anabi said, Anabi ache don't yagamu dewa, and so on. So I asked him, Shin Anabi ache yana so ya ga mutane suna wani ba su yi makaranta ba jikin su and so the answer Anabi wants to see quality people who are educated, who are enlightened, who know their rights, and so on. So it's not the numbers, it's what you do with the numbers that matter. Unless we pay attention to this, we are wasting our time. And so widespread acceptance of Western secular education between Christians and Muslims, between urban and rural areas, and like I said, between the northern and southern. Simply, we are yet to accept Western education. I couldn't believe it myself. I have personal experience with that. And the Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, I'm sure Professor Kawaji and Professor Sahadi will know. There is a blind Fulani man who was running around, who is always begging around with his children. And I took 2 of them and put them in the university primary school. Within 2 semesters, the eldest rose to the top of her class. In 6 years, she became the head girl. She collected prizes in sports. She was always coming first in mathematics, in computer, in Islamic studies, in Hausa, and so on. I was so happy. When she finished primary school last year, I now started looking around for a secondary school for her. I had almost gotten a slot to send her to an boarding army secondary school. I received a delegation from the father. They wanted to marry her off. We kept fighting and fighting and fighting. I lost the battle. Mariam has now become a childbearing factory. And that's it. And of course, you know, I kept shaking my head. Exactly when will this be accepted of our people? But of course I said, no, maybe the fault is my own. I looked at this as an elite, that they must accept it. Western education is good, and so on. And I looked at the environment. She is the only girl in her cohort who attended the university primary school. In fact, the day she put on the uniform, we nearly cried, because she was looking as if she was from Samaro, or that road in Regisabo, where you went. No, but we lost it. And I keep saying, what is the problem? And of course, I stopped the funding of the sister because I thought it's useless. And I started planting trees. And so, just to leave the legacy. So, the question I'm asking, this leads me, is northern Nigeria a tragic disease? And in my opinion, that the northern parts of the country, as we know, remain the poorest. Yet, we are also the ones that have been devastated by criminality and conflict today. It is widely acknowledged that there is continuing tragedy in the northeast, north central, and northwest geopolitical zone, the so-called food basket of the nation. We are the agricultural part, but guess what? Our parts of the country are the only place where you will find children begging for food on a daily basis. Let's think about it. There is a problem. We are producing food, yet our children are daily begging for food. There must be a problem. Even when you go to the south, those begging for food, those who are begging are predominantly northern. Predominantly, let's say things for what they are. Predominantly Muslim, and predominantly Hausa, Fulani, Nupe, Kanuri, and others. I keep asking myself, why? And so, okay. So these problems bedeviling us, it should worry all of us that intra and ethnic religious clashes have been proportionately continue to occur in the north with greater frequency and intensity. No longer can you travel 50 kilometers without worrying about not just your arrival. Most of us are not thinking of our arrival. We are thinking of what could possibly happen in between. You just don't know. And then we are the poorest. The committee set up under the former Inspector General of Police, Abubakar Ibrahim, in Zamfara State, at the establishment of the current governor, found that in Zamfara State alone, kidnappers and bandits have extorted 30 billion, is it 30 or 3 billion naira from ransom. Yet this is the poorest part of the country. One, to solve the problem finally, as it's being implied in many places, especially in the north, is to break up the country. Let's all go our ways. As I call it the Gideon Orca solution. Exiles in the far north, we in the middle belt or in the north central should have our problem. An Igbo lawyer friend of mine, we were talking about this, suggested that they would establish the Republic of Biafra from Port Harcourt to Yola. All that segment below the Medway would be their own. And I said, I'm surprised, I don't know how you became a lawyer. The reason is you are so naive. Who do you think among those people will allow you to become overlords over them again? If when you go back to original Biafra, you think any rivers or any cross river, delta, the southern will allow you, because we know of situations where in Port Harcourt General Hospital, only Igbos have access to beds. And so I said, look, my friend, the world has changed. We have moved beyond ethnicity. And then coming to the north. Can we break up? Yes. However, the human cost, in my opinion, would be horrendous. And the template or the formula would be of gargantuan. This break up along religious lines is of course out of the question, if not sheer madness. Nigeria is not like Pakistan and India. We are too mixed. More than spaghetti, more than jollof rice. You know, when you are eating spaghetti, you know each of them is individual. But if you would stop to pick it one by one, can you do that? You can only try, because before you even finish picking one, it will break. And so, spaghetti has to be eaten as it is. Hausawa suka ce dattin gora, ruwan gora da dattin gora ake sha. And so on. So, a division along tribal lines, autonomous tribal lines, would be convenient, would be okay, but it is patently unviable. And it will take centuries, in my opinion, to sort out the physical, not to talk of the physical boundary, of the social boundaries, of more than 500 tribes in the north. So some of the tribes will not have a sovereign territory of more than 10 kilometers. So before you start, you finish putting your car in all the 4 or 5 years, you have reached a border post where immigration will stop you. And I learned something yesterday. I didn't even know the mosaic of EMINENT will travel from Koko to this place when I started hearing about the different groups. And I said, unbelievable. This place is like Taraba State. I had no idea. I thought everyone from Suru is Dakakari. All the elites, they said, no, what is that? And so on. And I just opened my mouth. So, and I kept thinking last night, okay, from Koko to Zulu, we would have passed through at least four countries. Each tribe with its own border control, with its own customs, with its own immigration, and so on, with its own prison service, correctional service, excuse me, and so on, because it's an independent territory, with its own Senate, with its own House of Reps, inshallah, Professor Mabuta, and so if you know what I mean. Okay, so, gentlemen, is where are we going to go with tribe? The question, the point is, tribal politics, whether we know it or not, is dead. We are only clutching. It. Very much like the struggle of a terminally ill person. There is no. Besides, let us not forget, ethnicity and to a little extent religion are highly fluid concepts. You can move from one tribe to another. Seriously, sociologically, you can belong to one tribe and your son belongs to another tribe. It's possible. I will tell you what.
you can pay for it from this room, and just using that, that's all. So why is it? Globalization is already uniting us, whether you like it or not. In fact, you cannot even fight war without observing international rules of engagement. If you do that, you go to the international court. As Taylor of Nigeria, there are certain things. You cannot have elections to elect representatives without observers from the international community that will say, yes, it was done, it's fair. Ask Mugabe of Zimbabwe, and so on. So, again, I have listed the 6 conditions for peace. I think communities can look at that and work for it. And of course, the other thing is we have to what I call deluxuriate political office, so that politics does not become what last year I was vetting students to make sure they have the right credit, so that when they will not be confronted when they are graduating. No, you have not had this. And I came across a student who listed, they said father's occupation. He wrote politics. So I sent for the boy. I said, what is this? Do you know what? He said, it's my father who told me that I should put his occupation is politics. So I dismissed the boy. I said, okay, go. Then I called someone. I said, you see the problem. I called the person them and they said he's not even in the ruling party, he's in the opposition. So I said, apparently he's not even making any money out of it, and he's calling it an occupation. You know? So, you know, we have to, because it's associated with certain free wealth and so on. Okay? Of course, I have listed the 13 drivers of conflict in section 4 of my presentation. We need aggressive policy to focus on revamping the education, the economy. And of course, I will not fail to say that we need to declare a state of emergency on education at the basic and tertiary levels. And this should involve not just government, but also traditional and community leaders as well as parents. Unless we begin to do that. And I say so because I had some of the negative comments about us from parents, and I couldn't believe it. That these people don't even know what we are fighting for them. Until I told someone, if we allow government to go as it is, you will be paying 200,000 naira per semester for your child. And he asked, what are you talking about? I said, unless we succeed, this will eventually happen. He said, to Aiba Makaranta Kenya. Of course I know. You know, if we are to judge 80 to 85% of my students from university would drop out of school. As it is, as bigger, we charge about the region of 25 to 30,000 for all the charges. Believe me, I have had students applying to defer the semester or the session on financial grounds. I have names. Some, we form me and about 3 lecturers. We form this thing, we inform one of the female lecturers to be looking for ladies who will have to drop because of 30,000. We will anonymously contribute money to that lady on condition that they will register and stay in school. And we don't even want to be known. And we don't even want them to know we contributed. We can't. This is enough. We have to do something. Education, like I said, without education, we are finished. An American Congressional Committee came to Sokoto during the 2011, and they were given my name from George Mason University. They should talk to me about the problem of Nigeria. We made a dankani and we talked for about 3 hours. So the lady says she's an aide to a congresswoman. What do I think? If I were to say the 3 things that Sokoto State needs, assistance from the United States government, I said, yes, I will give you 3 items. 1, I said, 1, education, she wrote it. 2, education, 3, education. So she stood up and looked at me, she said she has written only 1. I said, no, I've given you only 3. What we need, education, education, education. We need to enlighten